I'm thinking some Cripples, some hair wing, mayfly Cripples, more Drake flavored, bigger mayflies, maybe some pheasant tail body, things like that. So we'll do a couple techniques. The variables, the wing. The wing can be hair, the wing can be synthetic, the wing can be CDC. So the wing will change, but I think everything else is pretty standard. The thread we'll use is UTC olive, unwaxed, lies pretty flat. And then it's easy to split if we do decide to do some CDC patterns. So let's get to it. All right, lay down a little thread base. Got a lot of clipped deer hair on my desk. It's making things pretty messy. We'll do a little tail, shorter, softer hackle tail from the webby base of this feather. I'll tie that in. A little bit shorter than I would for a regular mayfly dry, but a little bit longer than I would for a nymph. And then we can do turkey, a little turkey body. Turkey has a nice molted light color. Could be a sulfur. Could be something else. Tie that in and draw it back a little bit. The turkey, though, is quite brittle, more so than even the pheasant tail. So we have to reinforce it with something. I'm thinking a thread will maintain the olive, and I'm just gonna rib it with this olive colored thread. So we'll tie that in as well. This is a 140, UTC 140. And then we'll go ahead and we'll advance our thread first. Wrap our turkey, one behind the rib, coming in front. Front, and then that's a good place to stop and tie it off. We wrapped clockwise, so we want the rib to be counterclockwise. So we're gonna go the opposite direction. And then making the wraps fairly close together. Just reinforcing that turkey. This is a generic coloration. we'll do this one with the CDC wing. This is a good feather. We want one side of the feather, and then we're going to bunch these barbs and then tie them on as a wing. So we'll clip it, leaving quite a bit exposed. Then we'll trim it, try to trim it close to the stem of the feather. And then using some kind of tool we'll gather. Slide that in and then gather them. You don't have to get them super close, but close enough to pinch, and then remove. And then you can gather more. Gather more. You need to transfer, so transfer to the left, place your index, and then lift them up that way. And then we're going to tie in this side. And clean it up a little bit before we tie it in. And tie them in, poking out front. It's a little bit. I'm going to draw them forward a little bit. That's better. I'm going to come up, lift up our bunch, come under a few times, and then back around. Now we can clean this up. We'll do a couple turns of grizzly hackle. You could do CDC as well for the legs, or you could just skip the legs altogether, to be honest. But we'll do a couple turns of grizzly to finish it off. We'll place it behind our wing, advance the thread forward. 1, 2. 2 looks good. And tie it off. Secure it. And trim it out. Secure it 1, 2 more times. Whip it. Whip it again. Getting a little bit crowded toward that eye. That's not good. And clean up that hackle. There's some barbs covering the eye of the hook. You might still be able to run a tippet through it, but I think it's better to take care of it now. So, where's my rusty bodkin? There she is. get the rusty bodkin. Actually, it's clear. I was gonna heat up the bodkin and then singe the hair, but it's clear. So we don't have to do that. And let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit more. There's one stray. And then clean up that wing. I purposely made the wing very sparse because I'd want this to sit low. You could even trim off the bottom hackles if you wanted to, but that's only 2 turns of hackle in a pretty sparse wing. So it's a very low profile emerger, or cripple rather. Emerger, cripple. Are cripples emergers? I don't know. Perhaps. I wanted to do a hair wing drape, so maybe we do one of those right now. How we looking? Get our thread started. Do a moose body tail. Not too many. And then clean up the under fur. Then we're gonna eyeball the tips. The bunch is quite sparse, so we don't need to stack it. We'll just eyeball the tips. There's one longie. I think that's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. We'll keep them nice and long. And then with 75% power, we'll finish wrapping the body. We'll wrap them up the body. And then back down around, wrapping tighter. At the very end, you can wrap quite tight, kind of flare them out. We nicked our thread on the hook point, so it's starting to come off. Gotta be careful about that. We could do a darker turkey. But I'm kind of thinking just dubbing the body would be better. So that's a good dubbing. This is a hare's ear with a little bit of synthetic in it. Not the best choice for a dry, but the color is good. And if we keep it sparse, it'll play. we'll rib it with a dark brown thread to try to create some segmentation. It might not look great though. Go ahead, tie in your rib. Keep nicking our thread. Living on the edge. We want to dub that pretty far up. And then we create a rope. I have the main clump of dubbing, and I'm tease out a little bit and then loose wrap it onto the rope. I'm gauging the length of the dubbing rope. And then I also want to create a slight taper if possible. So I think that's about the length I want. Then I'll come back and tighten it all up, spinning in one direction. For bigger dries, you can use the natural dubbing. I think the synthetic would be better for the smaller dries. I'm going to put one wrap behind our rib, and then wrap the body. It's pretty thick, pretty heavy. A little bit too heavy. So I'm going to pick it out a little bit. I want to keep the taper. But I want to kind of slim it down. And then I can gather the material and then trim it down. And that slims it out a little bit, not perfect. And then we'll wrap our rib clockwise. It's not really supporting, just creating that segmentation. Tie it off the rib, cut off the rib, trim off the rib. Come back, clean up this a little bit. All right. We need to do the wing. I'm going to use this elk for the wing. We want the wing tilting back, so the tips are going to be pointing back, and then we'll wrap a hackle in between. I'm going to go sparse, a little bit sparser than I normally do. Just experimenting, see what it looks like. Clean up the butts, and then we will stack it a bit, even out those tips. any shorts. Measure the wing. I'd say the same length as the body. That looks good. I'm going to tie in a hackle, so I want to create a little bit of real estate to tie in the hackle. So I'm going to wrap toward the eye, and then we'll trim that out. I'm also going to put a couple wraps behind the wing to help it stand up. You don't want it completely vertical, but you also don't want it lying super flat. And then I'm gonna wait to trim this out. I don't know how high we want that. Then let's get us a hackle. A dyed olive would be real nice to have, but I don't have one. So it's gonna have to be brown. What kind of brown is yet to be determined. A little bright. These are pretty short hackles. I'm going to measure them. The length looks okay. Because these are short, I'm going to use 2. Trim off the butts. Little tie-in point. Maybe I regret not trimming this out. Tie in our hackle. Wrap the hackle. Go ahead and trap. And do one more trap, and then advance the thread. Finish off toward the eye. Trim the hackle. Trim out our, I don't know what we call that. Maybe that's gotta be shorter. Yeah, we messed that up. We messed it up. Whatever. Somehow this doesn't look right. I need to refer. Refer to an, okay. That's I should have tied the hackle behind the wing. I think it's okay in front, but I think the hackle goes behind the wing. What a mistake. That's okay. Let's do something on an emerger hook. Do like a loop wing pattern. We have our feather butt here. We'll use this little section for a tail. Measure out our tail. One more wrap down. There we go. All right. I'm thinking a peacock quill, semi-stripped for the body. Take 2 pieces of herl, and I'm gonna start coming down a little bit with my index and thumb to kind of thin this out. And we're going for like green drake emerger pattern here. Okay. The more you strip down the herl, the weaker it becomes. So keep that in mind. And then we have a little bit of our leftover brown. We'll use that as a rib. Go ahead and wrap our herl, one behind the rib. And then in front. That's nice. It's not as full, but you still get some texture. But now we're getting into a weirder, yeah, but that'll work. We're gonna counter wrap, so the opposite direction, and the thread is flat, so it's knocking some of that peacock down, which is nice. I'm going to do a little bit of that dubbing we had. I'm trying to think of the steps here. Maybe I don't do a little bit of the dubbing. I think I have to tie in the feather first. And tie in our feather. This is a nice, pretty, maybe a little bit too light. Drop back to the tip. Tie it in. Advance our thread. Now we can add a little bit of dubbing. Very sparse. That's too much. It's too much, but I'm going. Wrap our thorax. I'm going to trim out those tips. Finish toward the head. Loose, swoop the feather. Loose wrap. You could do two loose wraps, and then draw it in, creating that bubble. I think that's about good. Maybe a little bit smaller. Yeah, right there. And then tighten down. Go ahead, trim it off. You could do kind of legs coming off, but I used that hare's ear, and I'll pick that out a little bit. And clean it up. And then we don't really need any legs. That wing is pretty bright. I think we have time for one more fly. You can leave these long. That doesn't hurt. maybe pick that out a little bit more. Do I have any hooks lying around here? Little piece of brown hackle. Oh, we got a little hook. We can tie a little betis or bluing olive. You could do thread body for this, that would be good. We'll use the rest of that peacock quill. The tail I'm gonna do CDL. I think I have a feather grip started already. 3 fibers. There we go. Trim that out. Measure it out, nice and long. I'm gonna cord this thread up a little bit more. It's kind of lying flat. And then there's a small piece in there, but I'm gonna leave it. Work up the body. Trim it out. Peacock. Hurl. Is this the hurl we used, or we used a different hurl? Finish stripping off this quill. Actually, that's gonna take too long. I'm gonna use the moose body. Moose mane, moose body, both are okay. 2 hairs. Chop off the tips. Timing tip first. A little bit of super glue would be good if you wanted to make it stronger. Go ahead and wrap the body. That dark gray is a good color for a small mayfly. This could be a good midge body material as well. Then we'll get a wing. Wing color can vary from a tan to a gray, but I like this color a lot. This is a light gray dun. In fact, the pack is almost gone. This is a perfect size for our wing. Draw it back. That's a good little length right there. Wrap in front, wrap behind. Trim it out. You could make another wing from that little piece, so go ahead and save it. And then we can go do a CDC hackle. We used half of this feather for a different fly. We'll use this remaining section. Clippy, clippy, clippy. We don't need all of it. That's enough. Trim it out. Ooh, I didn't do a great job, but I think it'll work. Go ahead and split our thread. Carefully insert your material. Spin it up. The amount looks good. You don't want it too heavy. We'll do 1, 2, 3 wraps behind our wing. Then 1, 2 in front. Before you whip, you want to let your, because we wound it up so tight, it's very brittle, you want to let it unravel. While it's unraveling, you can kind of clean, oh, it's starting to come off our hook. While it's unraveling, you can clean up the legs. But maybe we don't do that because we will be patient. Yep, that's good. Let's do a whip. Our wing is a little bit short. One, two, three. Cinch it down. 1, 2. Cinch it down. Now we can clean up our legs. Long is not bad. But just try to make them a little bit more manageable. You'll be tempted to knock them all off. I wouldn't. I think that's good. But our wing is a little bit short. It should be a tad taller. Not bad. It'll fish. All right, let's review the day's tie, including our wacky hair wing we tied. We started with this cripple, It's got a turkey body, soft hackle tail, grizzly hackle, two wrap, and then CDC fibers for the wing, tied sparse on purpose. Then we did our hair wing drake. This is what it should look like with the hackle behind the wing, but this is what we ended up tying, the hackle in front of the wing, so it looks a little goofy. This is interesting. So this one is tied with a synthetic dubbed body. This one is tied with a hare's ear. You can tell the difference. Does it matter? I don't think so, but obviously this one is cleaner. I think they'll both float the same. Then we did a loop wing, CDC loop wing, green drake, emerging pattern with a semi-stripped peacock quill body, and then a little bit of dubbing. I was saying light on the dubbing, but I think we could have gone heavier on the dubbing for the thorax for that one. And then we finished with a little Betis pattern, very slim. It could even be a midge with a CDC wing, CDC hackle, but our wing is really sparse on this one. So this is a very weakly tied fly. That's it. Henry, hello Bubba, hello Noah, and yeah boy Cam. That's it for today. I'll see you guys later.